So you're an SDR who wants to become an AE. My name is William Padilla. I've been in software sales for 6 years, was an SDR for 9 months, and then got promoted in my 10th month as an account executive at my software sales company. So in this video, I'm going to give you my story and the breakdown and blueprint of how to go from SDR to AE. I graduated college from the University of Missouri and quickly fell into sales. My first job was a logistics company that I absolutely despised. I was there for only 4 months, but then I got into a really good role in a staffing sales role in downtown Chicago. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't exactly what I was going after. Then, friend of a friend, lengthy interview processes, I landed my first SDR role at a tech company. It was fantastic. And I actually didn't even know about a role called AE or what an account executive even was. I was so laser focused on getting the SDR role that I didn't even know that there was upward trajectory paths for an SDR within the company. Basically, what happened was I started performing pretty early on as an SDR. I was heavy into cold calls. I did a lot of video prospecting. I did heavy LinkedIn messages, and my cold email sequences were pretty good. Now, this only did so much. This obviously allowed me to hit quota as an SDR, but hitting quota as an SDR and getting promoted to AE are two different things. The skill set as an SDR will still be applied as an AE. However, simply just booking meetings won't be the way that you'll be promoted to AE, though that is one of the most important qualities. An SDR is based on your quota of booked meetings. Now, that's great. The company really appreciates it. But the company is faced against revenue targets that they have to perform on and present those to the board. As an account executive, you're holding a dollar figure quota. So a revenue number. Holding a $100,000 revenue number and holding a 8 booked meetings quota are vastly different things, and the revenue one comes with much more pressure. My account executive that I was working with at the time told me that there was a path for me to become an account executive. However, it took a lot of work internally for politicking. This is exactly what I'd recommend, is to internally politic with the right people. I basically got on the good side of the top account executives by booking them fire meetings. Not only did I book them fire meetings, but I booked them meetings as if I was an account executive, and I'd pretty much tee them up with deals that were ready to close. No account executive likes an SDR who books them random meetings with no interest from the buyer, and the buyer doesn't even know why they're there. Account executives love when an SDR does the work, tees them up, and then they can go in and do what they do best, and that's close the deal. This process is a mix of showing your talent as a smart SDR who can think like an AE, aka basically look at a prospect and say, could they, if they get on this call, buy our software? The answer should always be yes. It should never be maybe 50-50. No. If they take the call and they jump on the call, good chance our software is going to be a good fit. Now, budget, timing, that stuff can be figured out. But from a bird's eye view, is this use case going to be good for our software? The answer should be yes. So once you get past actually showing your skill set, now it's time to internally politic. So you get on the good side of the AEs, and then you also tell your manager what the path is going forward. Hey, I've been an SDR for 6 months. I've consistently overperformed. I'm looking at becoming an account executive. How does this work? Because you're a performer, you have the ability to do things like message the top dogs. I went ahead and messaged our VP of sales and told them, hey, I've been performing the last 6 months. I want to be an account executive. What does this look like? Now, key thing is here, you have to perform in order to send these messages. Too many people today are so entitled where they get an SDR role and then they're quickly like, okay, now it's time to be an AE. I'm going to message everyone. I'm going to do what Will said, and I'm going to internally politic to get that role. No, you were not hired to internally politic. You were hired to be the best SDR the company has ever seen. Honestly, that's why you were hired, was to book meetings and to be a good SDR. I had lunch with the CEO of Yum Brands, Taco Bell, KFC, CEO David Novak. And this was back in college, and I asked him, I said, hey, David, when I get an entry-level sales role and I want to go to the next level, how do I go about getting a promotion? And he said, young man, you're thinking about the wrong thing. focus on the role they hired you for, excel at it, then start the conversations, and people will already notice that you're ready for promotion. So focus on your role, perform first, then talk later. And that's exactly what I recommend for you guys. Perform first in your SDR role. Have several, and I mean 4 to 5 months of consistent quota performance, achieving or exceeding before you even start to message people about wanting to become an AE. This process could go pretty quick for you. You could become an AE in less than a year or 12 to 18 months if you're at the right company. But the reality is you have to perform first, then you could do all the things about internal politicking after. You also want to make sure you're ready. My VP of sales said I could be an AE at month 8 if I wanted to, but I told him, I said, you know what? I need about 2 more months of practicing my demo skills and actually listening to more demos before I'm ready. That 2-month pause, though I was hurting from a financial perspective of really wanting that raise, by me being patient and me holding off, I was giving myself more time to learn. That way, when I came into the role, I was like Lightning McQueen, off to the races, closing big deals, and I didn't feel so nervous on my first demo. Now, I probably can't remember my first demo because it was so long ago, but I can probably guarantee I was nervous somewhat. But the reality is I was much more prepared than I would have been if I started at 8 months instead of 10 months. So while I prepared to become an AE, I did all the demo certifications, I listened to hundreds of calls on Gong from the top sales reps and just learned their talk tracks. And what I did was I took a blend of the top reps that I aligned with mostly from a sales perspective and as well as a personality perspective. I blended it all together with a mix of my own personality and made it my own. And even today, my sales demo track is from a lot of the top reps I first started with, mixed in with my own personality and flavor. So there's a lot that goes into this process from going SDR to AE. If you're wondering exactly how it happens so fast, you're right. It does actually seem quite fast to get promoted from an SDR to AE in 10 months. I will admit that. I got blessed. The Lord put me in the right company at the right time with the right people. There's no denying that. The Lord took care of me in a very unique way, and I'm forever grateful. So I'm not going to sit here and say that 10 months is the gold standard or 10 months is the bare minimum. No, everyone has a different situation, but use where God put you at, so an SDR role at whatever company you're at, and be grateful. Be grateful, which I know is so hard to do in today's world where it always seems like you have to have the next thing or you're not where you're supposed to be. Trust me, like I've been there. Like rid yourself of that mentality. It's just going to drain you spiritually and it's going to rob you of the present moment, which is the most important, because if you don't focus on the present moment and your current role, you're never going to be promoted to AE. And let me tell you, being an AE is much more challenging than it is an SDR because of the fact that you have a revenue target. You're much more likely to get fired as an AE opposed to an SDR. Now, SDR, lower pay, AE, higher pay, higher risk, higher reward. I'll take the higher risk, higher reward any day. However, don't sit here and think that all your problems are going to be solved once you go from SDR to AE. I've seen a lot of SDRs go to AE and actually miserably fail. They flame out in 3 to 4 months, get fired, and they view software sales as a dead end for them. And that's not the path that I want for you. So don't think it's going to solve everything. Think of it just as that next step in your natural evolution as a top sales rep. Hopefully this story can help you in your role as an SDR and on your path to becoming an account executive. I can share a lot more about my story. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know my story is unique, but your story is unique, and that's why I'm here to share mine, to give you some relatability, though not everything is going to be exactly the same as where you're at or the situation you're in. If you guys like this video, do me a favor, like and subscribe and comment your situation, and I'll do my best to give my 2 cents on what I recommend for a path forward at your current role and how to become an account executive in software sales.